All right, you're on. Good morning, Pamela.
Good morning.
May we have your legal permission to videotape our interview this morning?
Yes, please.
And do we have permission to broadcast it all across the world?
You bet.
And are you going to try hard to say something helpful to everybody else in the world this morning?
I'm always profound.
People say I'm always full of it. I like profound better. All right, let's see. Medical problems. Let's see. Got the low thyroid.
Mm-hmm.
And some high blood pressure.
Yes.
And some arthritis.
Yes.
Yeah, we know about that, right?
Right.
Yesterday you went through the clinic.
I did.
And any comments? Is that all right?
It was absolutely all right, and I do think that it's a really beneficial thing, the interaction and the community that it builds between the different patients, and it's not just someone else saying so. You can actually ask those people, and you can see it in their face too. You can see that they really didn't. It wasn't a horrible experience. They're over it, looking forward to the rest of their life.
Questions that came up yesterday that you haven't had answered? Anything else we need to go over? You've been at a couple of seminars. And
yeah, I think we've been to 3 or 4 now, and so I think that...
Have I changed anything? Am I answering the same questions? The same
No,
way?
no, and the jokes, you put them in a different order, so that's kind of good.
Okay, fine. Just write down a note to myself to shorten your... I'm going to write down...
That's true.
I'm going to shorten your bypass.
No,
okay,
but,
fine. I think that'll be enough.
No, I guess the only thing, I don't have any questions. I really think that the literature and the 800 redundant times we have to answer the same question.
You're pushing for it.
Yeah.
To the moon.
Yeah, I think that really leaves us, justifiably informed, and because it is for the rest of our life. But I'm 51 years old. I'm an architect here in town. I've struggled with my weight my whole life, but it's only in like the last 2 years that it's really started to impinge on my daily routine and make just getting by difficult,
Well, and you brought up your profession. I think I'll tell you a story that clicked off in my memory. And that is, many of our patients tell us stories about how their weight affects their jobs and their lives.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure this is your experience, but I will tell you that we hear that a lot of people feel that their weight affects their job and how other people view them. In other words, because you're a heavy person, you get viewed as somebody who maybe isn't as committed, as skillful, as knowledgeable, as meticulous as somebody who's thinner and more attractive.
Absolutely.
You think that's the case?
I think that's definitely the case, and I specialize in construction site management, and I have for about 30 years. And so I don't draw so much anymore. I'm right on the site watching the day-to-day construction and looking for code and specification compliance. And so that requires me to climb ladders to 4th and 5th floor roofs, and to go nose to nose with the guys most days. And it just is, it's a problem,
Well, what we hear from people is after they lose weight, people seem to think they're much more intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
That their suggestions are much more insightful. Oh yeah, that's really a good idea. Where before it was like, yeah. And so I have one story about this that was educational for me because of some changes I had to make in a story I used to tell. I operated on a woman who was a woman whose name was Elizabeth White, and she had raven black hair. Very attractive woman, I think black Irish, very nice lady from the social work office in North Carolina. After surgery, about a year later, she came back to clinic for follow-up, and she looked beautiful still, but she was, 150 pounds thinner. She had dressed up, and she had platinum blonde hair. And very attractive, and, she was doing great. She thanked me, and so we chatted, how's life, and she said, I'm doing great. Everybody in my office have changed towards me 180 degrees. They never used to talk to me. Now they open doors, they come in and chat with me. All of my suggestions seem that much smarter and everything. And so my world has completely changed, but I'm angry at those people because I'm the same person that I used to be, and who do they think they are now? Now they want to be friends with this attractive woman, and in the past they shunned me. Well, for the next 2 years I told that story, how bad everyone else was, and how wonderful the transformation in your life is going to be after my surgery. And one of the days in the clinic like this was a fellow worker in the same social work office as Elizabeth, Sheila Shook, who worked with her. Sheila said, "Dr. Rutledge, you're totally wrong." I said, "I beg your pardon?" She said, "Before the surgery, Elizabeth never looked up from her desk, never spoke to anybody, never came out of her office, and went straight home, and of course didn't dress the way she dresses now. Since she has been transformed, she's a different person, and everybody else is also different." So there's this interesting interaction that not only does the world judge us by our looks, at least in part, which of course it shouldn't.
Right.
It should judge us by the quality of our character, not whether we're handsome or attractive. But we're at least in part judged by our looks, but also we judge ourselves. And so one of the things that's nice about our surgery is that we see both of those assessments often improve, and it can be a real exciting, positive experience. And I think we saw some of our patients the other day are already showing signs of those changes. And we really hear in jobs, and particularly for people in professions, they find a marked change in how people respond to them when they're that thinner, more attractive person.
That sort of triggers a thought for me too, because coping with being larger and being overweight, the same sort of thing through my life. I have watched people judge others, and I usually try to be a very non-judgmental person and think of myself that way. But I had a real eye-opener 2 weeks ago right here in this room at one of your clinics, in that I was early for the clinic, and I sat right back over there, sat down, was waiting for two friends of mine to arrive, and it was a little slow getting started, and this young lady came in the room, very attractively dressed, sat down in front of me, and I thought to myself, she's never had a fat day in her life. She's somebody's support person. Well, come to find out, when they introduced her at the end, she was about 4 years out and had lost 150 pounds. But my oh my God moment was that I had judged her that way, the same way that I get so angry for other people judging me. So we all do it, it's human nature. But
it is part of what's built into us, and I think that we have to remember that. Hopefully that all of you who become healthier and more attractive will take some of those experiences where you had to kind of fight for recognition and take that and be a little kinder and more gentle to people who are in your daily life, and say, you know, the looks don't change everything and anything. On the other hand, it clearly is more enjoyable to live in our society as an attractive person than somebody who's less attractive.
Well, and it just isn't built for big people, you know. You quit going to the movies because you can't fit in the seats. Putting your shoes on, oh my gosh, if you have to change your shoes in public, how are you going to get down on the ground and wallow around like that, you know? And it's just the little things. Wiping after you use the bathroom, it's the... But
thanks very much, family. It's been great having you now. I think we have to cut to a commercial.
I'm embarrassed now.